My name is Derek Carter, and a year ago, I thought I had everything a man could ask for. I was married to Tanya, the woman I had loved for nearly 2 decades. Together, we had built a family and raised two daughters, Aaliyah, 16, and Jasmine, 15. Back then, I wore the title of husband and father with pride. Those words meant everything to me.
But now?
Now I can barely bring myself to even say them. My marriage is nothing but a graveyard of broken promises, and my daughters, the girls I once held close, have become strangers to me. When I look back, my life feels like a shadow of what it once was, and the man I used to be is gone. For years, I worked myself to the bone as a lead engineer at a factory on the south side of Chicago. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was steady and it was honest. I didn't chase fancy cars or exotic vacations. My goal was simple: provide for Tanya and the girls, give them a home that felt safe, and opportunities one never had growing up. Everything I did was for them. Or so I thought. Please like, subscribe, and tell me where you're watching from. I didn't grow up soft. My parents, Ray and Loretta Carter, weathered the kind of storms that break good folks in half. When the 2001 downturn hit, my dad lost his delivery route, and the Oldsmobile went with it. I remember him walking across town before sunrise, lunch pail in one hand, Bible in the other, shoulders squared like a man refusing to bend. My mom picked up shifts cleaning offices at night, humming church hymns to keep from crying. I learned early that pride without provision is just noise. So at 16, while boys my age talk sneakers and mixtapes, I was at Mr. Leroy's garage, inhaling oil and metal, trading knuckle skin for pocket change. That grind got me a scholarship,
Degrees.
a career. I wanted to build something different for my own family, a home where the heat stayed on, where birthdays had cake and candles, where the fridge didn't echo. I thought I was succeeding. We had a modest brick house, a small yard, Tanya's laughter in the kitchen, Aaliyah and Jasmine bickering over the bathroom mirror. I used to stand in the hallway and think, this is it. We made it. I didn't know then how quickly a house can go silent. It started with a glow, blue light washing Aaliyah's face. Where'd you get that? I asked, nodding at the slick new Pearphone Nova, the kind influencers brag about. She didn't look up. Mom got it. I turned to Tanya on the couch, flipping through a fashion mag, nails fresh and red. You bought that. She didn't flinch.
Relax, Dee.
I've been putting money aside. All her friends have won. I swallowed my irritation.
Baby, we talked about this. Needs before wants.
We still paying off the water heater. That thing costs more than my first car. She rolled her eyes. You always make it deep. It's a phone. The conversation slid off her like rain off glass. 2 days later, Jasmine walked in with the same glowing brick. My stomach dropped. I asked where it came from. Same answer. Same shrug. Something was off. Tanya's lashes were thicker, her hair newly braided with gold cuffs.
Nice.
Too nice for our budget. I checked the bank app at night with the bathroom door locked. It looked fine. No big withdrawals. Just smaller grocery runs, less gas, tiny shifts that didn't add up to 2 luxury phones. Savings? Side money? Or something I didn't want to name. I believed my daughters understood what sacrifice meant. I made sure to teach them that difference between wants and needs. But that illusion shattered one afternoon. I walked into the living room and froze. Aaliyah sat on the couch, holding a brand new iPhone, grinning as her thumbs flew across the screen. My chest tightened. Aaliyah, I asked, pointing to the phone. Where did you get that? She barely glanced up. Mom got it for me, she said, like it was nothing. I turned to Tanya, who was flipping through a fashion magazine. You bought her that phone? She sighed, irritated at my interruption.
Yes.
What's the problem? The problem is I gave her a perfectly good phone last year. That thing costs more than my first car. Why would you do that without talking to me? She shrugged, tossing the magazine onto the table. I save money, Derek. She's a teenager. Everybody has one. I'm not gonna let her be the only one without. I clenched my fists, swallowing the anger. This isn't about money, Tanya. It's about teaching them values. That's not a necessity, it's a luxury. She rolled her eyes.
You're overreacting. It's just a phone.
I let it go that day, though my spirit burned with unease. A few days later, déjà vu struck. I came home to see Jasmine clutching the same shiny phone, her face glowing as she scrolled. "Where did you get that?" I asked, my voice heavy. "Mom got it for me," she answered flatly, like her sister. This time, I didn't argue with Jasmine. She wasn't the one at fault. I marched straight to Tanya. "You bought another one?" I demanded. She didn't flinch. "Yes, I did. I told you already. I save money." "Save money?" "Tanya, where are you pulling this from? We got bills, groceries, a mortgage. And you're telling me you saved enough to buy 2 iPhones. Her tone was dismissive, her sigh sharp. "They're our daughters. I wanted to give them something nice. Why do you turn everything into a crisis?" I snapped back. "Because it's not about spoiling them. It's about raising them. You're teaching them that money appears out of thin air. That life is just gifts and gadgets." Her face hardened. "I got it handled, Derek. You don't need to worry about it." That night, I slept on the couch. I stood in the doorway, sweat chilling on my skin, the kitchen light carving their faces into masks I didn't recognize. Tanya's smile collapsed when she saw me.
"Oh.
"You're up," she said, smoothing her hair like she could fix the moment the way she fixed a strand. I pulled out a chair and sat. The refrigerator hummed like it was listening. Aaliyah reached for her phone. Jasmine stared at the floor tile, counting grout lines. "Yes," I said evenly. "The bum is up." Tanya blinked. "Derek." "No," my voice surprised me, cold, steady. "Pack a bag. You and the girls. Leave tonight. I'll have the lawyer send papers to Mr. Cole's address, since he seems to be family." Jasmine laughed, sharp and mean. "You mad because you broke?" Aaliyah piled on. "Mr. Cole isn't afraid to spend. He actually knows how to take care of people." I took the like a punch and didn't sway. "Then he can take care of you properly. I'll sign overrights. He can have the whole package." Tanya's eyes welled instantly, actress quick. "Baby, no. We can talk." "Talk about what? The earrings? The phones? The man?" I stood. "You traded us for shine." I slipped off my ring, laid it on the table. The metal looked small, breakable, so I broke it. The hammer came down hard. The ring flattened with a sharp, final sound that made the girls jump. Tanya jerked back like I'd struck her. I held the twisted gold up between thumb and forefinger.
Here. Pawn it.
Melt it. Do what you do. Her softness vanished, anger flaring hot. "Oh, that's how you playing it?
Cool.
I'll bury you in court. Do what you need to." They stormed upstairs and the house felt like a body exhaling for the first time in months. When the front door slammed, the walls didn't tremble, they settled. Court came and went like a slow bleed. Tanya's lawyer smiled with too many teeth. We split assets down to brand-name sheets and 2-year-old appliances. Retirement gutted. Savings emptied. Alimony assigned like a sentence. Child support too. The judge looked bored while my life was measured in line items. Outside the courthouse, I saw him for the first time. Reynard Cole. Tall linen suit, confidence marinated in money. He stood with Tanya and my girls, his arm draped casual over Aaliyah's shoulder. A picture of replacement. He grinned at me. "No hard feelings, big man. They deserve options." I smiled back, lips only. "Then you adopting my responsibilities next week? Or you need my checks to fund your options?" He reached into his jacket like a magician pulling a dove. "Papers. Already started." Jasmine's voice followed, eager and entitled. "I want some too." And then Aaliyah, with venom I didn't recognize. "When are you gonna leave that bum and move in with Mr. Hampton? His house is way bigger than this dump." The words stabbed me.
Bum. Dump.
From my own child's mouth. The house I worked my whole life to provide, dismissed as garbage. Me, reduced to nothing in their eyes. I forced myself out of bed, body trembling but soul on fire. The fever weighed me down, but I couldn't stay silent. I walked into the kitchen. Conversation died instantly. Tanya's fake smile flickered across her lips. Oh, honey, you're up. I pulled out a chair and sat down, staring at them.
My voice came out steady, cold.
Yes, the bum is up.
Tanya's smile vanished.
Pack your bags, I said. You and these girls. Leave tonight. I'll file for divorce, and you can tell Mr. Hampton where to send the papers. Silence thickened the air. Then Aaliyah sneered. Who'd want to stay with a loser like you anyway? Jasmine joined in. Yeah, he got money. More than you ever will. I was done. I looked Tanya in the eye. Tell your Mr. Hampton that since he's so rich, he can take you and your daughters. I'll sign over my parental rights gladly. From this day forward, they're his responsibility. Their mouths fell open. Tanya's tears sprang fast, her voice breaking. Derek, wait. I don't want a divorce. We can fix this. I love you. Her words rang hollow, empty echoes of a love already sold off for shiny gadgets and trinkets. Love, I said, voice low. Where was that love when you let our daughters disrespect me? When you snuck gifts from another man? No, Tanya, that love is gone. I slid my wedding ring off, placed it on the table with a metallic clink. Then I grabbed a hammer from the toolbox. With one strike, I crushed the gold flat, twisted and broken. I held it out to her.
Here.
Sell it. At least you'll still get something from me. Her tears dried instantly, rage twisting her face. So that's how you want it?
Fine.
I'll destroy you in court. You'll regret this day for the rest of your miserable life. She stormed out. The court battle was brutal. Tanya came for me like a storm, her lawyers tearing through everything I had built. Savings, retirement, accounts, gone. The judge awarded her nearly everything, leaving me with nothing but the old house and my car. And then, standing in that courtroom, I saw him for the first time. Calvin Hampton, the man who had bought his way into my family. He stood there with his arm around Tanya, Aaliyah, and Jasmine. They embraced like a family portrait I was cut out of. My stomach twisted, but my face stayed stone. Did it hurt?
Yes.
Did it kill me?
No.
In that moment, I understood something. I hadn't lost my family. I'd been freed from people who never valued me to begin with. Some asked why I didn't fight for custody. Why not drag the girls into court? But at 16 and 15, their minds were already made up. Money had seduced them, and no ruling could force loyalty. I walked past Tanya, the girls, and Calvin, my chest heavy but my spirit alive. I was free. But freedom came with something else too, the hunger for revenge. I started digging. Calvin Hampton wasn't just Tanya's shiny new provider. He was one of the majority shareholders at the very company I worked for. It hit me like a lightning bolt. 8 months before the plant shut down, he had bought up stock. That was when things began unraveling. The closure wasn't just business, it was his scheme. He wasn't in it to improve production. He played a game he had played before. Buy the company, run it into the ground, strip it for parts, sell it off, and leave workers like me in the dust. He had done it twice before, bankrupting 2 companies and walking away rich. As chief engineer, I saw things most folks didn't. Machines marked as scrap were in perfect condition. They were being sold at cut-rate prices to competitors. One vendor admitted the company buying them was run by Calvin's own brother. I pieced it together. Loans taken out in the company's name. Money moved into shell vendors. Profits funneled back into his pockets. The banks, the workers, everyone else left empty-handed. I knew then. If Calvin thought he had stripped me bare, he had underestimated me. They found rhythm the way you find a path in tall grass, by walking it twice. Mornings, Evie met with a coach Idris trusted. Not to sand her down, but to hand her the language of budgets and bylaws. Afternoons, she was at the shelter she'd once mopped. Now she signed checks, interviewed counselors, argued for dignity. Evenings they ate like people, not press photos. Sometimes leftovers, sometimes her red beans that made him grateful his heartbeat still worked. The house softened. Idris dragged a second chair into the study and started sharing the good records, the ones he used to keep like secrets. Grocery lists went up on the fridge in thick marker. A corner of the garden became theirs. He murdered Basil by accident, and Evie laughed so hard she cried, then taught him how to water without drowning. One morning after rain had washed the city clean, Idris stood under the pergola, the boards still dripping. Evie joined him with 2 mugs. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "That I used to want my name carved on buildings," he said. "Now I want it whispered in a kitchen at midnight by someone who means it." She flushed, looking away. "I'm not easy," she warned. "I doubt. I get small sometimes." He touched her knuckles. "Doubt keeps us honest. And what keeps us here?" He didn't say love. He let the word hover between them like fog, real and soft and everywhere. The pounding on my front door startled me one afternoon. I opened it to find Tanya standing there, the girls behind her, eyes wide at the new life I had built. She barged in without asking. "Where did you get the money for all this?" she demanded, her voice sharp with anger. The girls scattered through my house like it was a museum. Aaliyah gasped at the new theater room. Jasmine squealed at the sight of the pool. I blocked their path. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" Tanya's face twisted with fury. "You stole money from me. I want my share." I laughed, bitter and cold. "Your share? You left me for another man, remember? Go ask your husband for money." Kendra, spoiled as ever, snapped, "Just give her the money, Dad." I turned, eyes blazing. "Don't call me that. Not anymore. You made your choice." Jasmine smirked. "Yeah, Dad, just hand it over." I clenched my jaw. "Get out. All of you, or I'll call the cops." For a moment, Tanya looked shocked. Then her face hardened. "This isn't over. You'll regret this." I smiled coldly.
No.
"You will." Just as I expected, Tanya dragged me back into court. She claimed I had hidden assets, that I owed her more. But my lawyer came prepared. He laid out everything, how the money came from a legitimate lottery win, how every dollar was documented. The judge listened patiently before asking Tanya the simplest question. "Do you have any evidence, Mrs. Hampton?" She stammered. "Well, no, but—" "Then your claim is dismissed," the judge said flatly. Tanya's face burned red. Before the hearing ended, Aaliyah and Jasmine stood up. Their voices cut through the courtroom. "He abandoned us," Aaliyah shouted. "He's a coward." "Yeah," Jasmine added. "He left us for nothing." The judge sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. "Ladies, sit down." Then he turned to Tanya. "You are married to Mr. Hampton. And according to these records, your daughters are legally adopted by him. Mr. Carter is no longer responsible for you or them." Case closed. For the first time in months, I exhaled fully. Tanya fumed. The girls glared. But I walked out with my head high. Their chains on me had finally been broken. The calls didn't stop, though. Tanya and the girls tried a new angle, desperation. They begged to meet. I agreed, but only at my lawyer's office. No more games. When they walked in, dressed in their best clothes, I could see the fear beneath the polish. Tanya's eyes flicked to my new phone, lying on the table. "You've changed, Derek," she said softly. I smiled. "Thanks to you and your daughters." "They're your daughters," she pressed. I slid a document across the table. "Not anymore. Your husband signed this. Legally, they belong to him now." Tanya's lips trembled. "Does a piece of paper make him their father?" "Yes," I said coldly. "Paper is what you taught me mattered. You sold me out for paper money. My daughters called me a bum for not having enough paper. They called my house a dump because it didn't have paper value. So yes, Tanya, it's all just paper." The girls broke into tears, whispering, "We're sorry, Dad." I snapped, "Don't call me that. He's your father now, not me." Their sobs filled the room. I felt nothing. Tanya made one last plea. "He wants to divorce me. We had a prenup. I'll be out on the streets with the girls. They'll have nothing. Are you happy now?" My stare cut through her.
No, Tanya.
"You tried to replace me. Now that Calvin's headed to prison and won't give you a dime, you want to crawl back?" You disgust me. Her voice dropped, trembling. But I was your wife. They're your daughters. Not anymore, I said, my voice sharp as glass. Not my wife. Not my daughters. Not my problem. I stood, towering over them. If I see you near my house again, I'll file a restraining order. You made your choice. Live with it. They wept, tried to plead, but I turned my back. Their tears no longer touched me. They were ghosts from a life I'd buried. Meanwhile, the investigation into Calvin and his brother tore them apart. Both men ended up behind bars, their wealth seized, their reputation destroyed. In prison, workers they once exploited made sure they paid in blood and pain. Justice. Rough, raw, and undeniable. As for me, I rebuilt quietly. Marriage? Never again. I had no desire to open myself to betrayal twice. Instead, I poured into myself. I fixed the house, not because I needed to impress anyone, but because I deserved to live in a space that felt alive again. The empty rooms that once echoed with arguments were repurposed. One became a library, filled with books I never had time to read when I was too busy grinding for people who didn't value me. Another became a theater room, where I could sit back and laugh at old movies without judgment. Loneliness wasn't the enemy, it was clarity. I adopted 2 loyal companions, a pit mix with gray in her muzzle named Ruth, and a mischievous cat that strutted through the house like he owned it. Their presence filled the silence better than false love ever could. I didn't celebrate when the Cole brothers went down, but I did feel a quiet satisfaction. The scales had balanced. Justice had a way of finding people who thought they were untouchable. I no longer waited for apologies that would never come. I no longer chased after love dressed as greed. I chose peace, and for once, peace chose me back. Thank you for watching. Please like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more stories like this.